I'm Robert Cavuto, and today on Metal Rules, we're speaking with Richie Faulkner of Judas Priest to talk about their 50 years of heavy metal tour, as well as the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame induction ceremony. Welcome, Richie, and pleasure to speak with you again.
Robert, good to talk to you, man. Yeah, lots of stuff going on, lots of stuff to talk about in the priest camp, lots of stuff going on in the heavy metal world. So it's good to talk to you again, man.
Yeah. Big congratulations to you and the Priest family for the induction in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. I know you weren't eligible for various reasons and restrictions, but you put together two stellar albums for the band, and I think you should have been there.
Well, I've seen a few people online, saying their opinion. I was just happy to be there supporting the band, and it's about time. You know, my opinion is you can't really have the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame without a band like Judas Priest
Sure.
in it. To be in my opinion, when the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame was formed, Priest should have been in it from the ground up.
Agreed.
But c'est la vie. Whether I'm in it or not doesn't really bother me and doesn't really matter. But they're in it now.
Yeah,
It
well,
was a great night, and it's good to see them in it now.
I think you've contributed significantly to the band since you joined in 2011. So, congratulations to you too for being a part of it.
Thank
You
you
know,
very much. Thank you.
for the viewers and the fans, it was really a magical moment to watch you guys all reunited with KK and Les on stage. What was it like for you? Playing in that situation and in that environment for that induction ceremony.
Well, for me, I mean, it was great. I mean, obviously, I'm a huge Priest fan. Um, I have been for a long time, and always will be. So that hasn't changed. So to be part of a three guitar attack team,
Right.
which Priest has never been before, as far as I'm aware. I'm sure there's someone on the internet that can dig through the archives and find, maybe a gig they did once before. But as
Right.
far as I'm aware, Priest has always been known as that twin guitar attack. So to be up there with Glenn and KK as part of that three guitar attack was I mean, it was an experience. I mean, if it was a one-time experience or whether it was something for the future, who knows? But even if it was the one-time experience, it was just something to relish and to remember forever. Really, it was fantastic.
Yeah, no, I agree. I know that differences have existed in the past, and it was great that everybody could put aside anything that was bothering them and be a part of this because it was so important to the fans and it was so important to the band. So many other bands have, really screwed up the induction, and I think you guys handled it like true gentlemen, and everybody seemed humbled and in great, spirits. Was it that way for you too?
I was just happy to be there supporting the rest of the
Yeah.
guys. From my point of view, I opted out. I offered to opt out. I didn't need to be there.
Wow.
The guys wanted me there as part of the band. I'm part of the band in 2022. They wanted me there, even though I wasn't inducted, so to speak. They thought it was important that I was there representing the band in 2022. So that was really nice of them. And from my point of view, I was just happy to be there, supporting them and being part of the band in 2022. So it was just a great night. It was great to see so many artists and so many people in different genres. I know it's called the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. As we all know, there's so many different genres of music that get inducted. Some people agree with that, some people don't. But it was great to see people like Annie Lennox and Dave Stewart and Duran Duran and Lionel Richie and different people that from different genres of music, but just great artists in their own right. 6 foot away, doing what they do. That was a great thrill.
Yeah, the guys are really true gentlemen to include you into that performance. I think it couldn't have happened without you, and I think that you absolutely deserved and should be there. So kudos to you on that. And you also mentioned Dave Grohl was sitting like at the next table. I saw like some videos on YouTube. He was sitting over at the next table, which is pretty cool too, right?
Yeah, I mean, everyone knows he's a big music fan in general, but he's a big Priest fan. He's a metalhead, and he came out during I think it was Easy Like Sunday Morning. Lionel Richie was playing when he done his performance. He done a medley, and he came out and played the guitar solo, which was great. So yeah, you could tell he was, again, he's a music fan, and he you could tell he was thrilled to be a part of that as well. So just a great sort
Yeah.
of blend of musicians and a lot of respect in the room.
No, that's fantastic. I know that Priest is really known for the motorcycle, bringing the Harley on stage. I know you didn't do, the Hellbent for Leather, but was there ever consideration of talk about bringing out a Harley at any point of the songs that you did play?
Yeah, there was a lot of consideration, production wise, song wise. In the end, it was really down to how long we had, or how long we didn't have. Really, I think we had 8.5 minutes. How much are we going to put into the, into that time slot? Which songs are we going to utilize? I mean, it would be great to do like Victim of Changes, Island of Domination,
Right.
and something like that. But it wasn't. Which songs are the most appropriate for that kind of event. So we went with those, and we felt like they contained the most appropriate songs for the evening, as I said. So the bike didn't come out, but it was a short, sharp dose of Priest, and I think we did what we set out to do, really.
No, I think you did great. Breaking the Law was the first song I really learned how to play on guitar with a band. So, it has special meaning to me and special memory to me also. Was there ever consideration, or did you guys talk about three guitar players? How are you going to execute these songs so that it sounds really like a cohesive unit, not like a jumbled wall of messy guitars? Did everybody take a part, and was everything assigned beforehand?
No, it was a given, really. It was fairly straightforward, and we had a rehearsal a couple of days before, and it was fairly straightforward. Who was to take what, and Ken was he took a solo in Breaking the Law.
Right.
We bailed out of another thing coming before the solo, and on excuse me, Living After Midnight, Glenn took the solo in that one. So I was again playing a supporting role in those songs, really. So it was fairly straightforward, and it was always, from my point of view, Ken and Les were going to be there from, I think originally they were going to come up on the last song.
Mm-hmm.
We were going to play two songs, and then they were going to come up on the last song. But I think we were all, at some point, I remember suggesting, why don't we just get everyone up for everything, and just having a big melee, and the songs are going to work themselves out. It's not, they're fairly straightforward songs, so we should be able to get through that pretty easily.
No, it's a great suggestion. I'm glad they were all there for that. Alice Cooper was a tremendous choice to induct you guys into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. Where did that come from? How did that come about? What's the history?
Well, I think I'm right in saying that, I might be wrong in this, but I think to induct a band or an artist into the Hall of Fame, I think they have to be inducted themselves. I'm not quite sure if that's
Sounds
right,
about right,
or not. And I think Alice is in there already, so that's one criteria. Alice was available, and fairly local, and also Alice has kind of the same kind of amount of time in, as Priest. Around the late 60s, Alice has been around, and so he has that kind of authority on the subject. So he just seemed like the right person to be, inducting Priest into the Hall of Fame. So, and I think he was happy to do it. So he kind of ticked all the boxes.
I've met him a couple of times. He's a tremendously nice guy, and I think he did a tremendous job inducting you. He was gave a really nice speech for you guys, so that was fantastic.
He really did.
He's one of the few bands out there. We talked a little bit about it earlier. His band has three guitar players. Iron Maiden has three guitar players. Accept now has three guitar players. So it was really cool to see Priest out there with three guitar players. Is that something that might happen further down the line? I know you said you can't predict the future, but is it something that's an option, or is it open down the road?
Um, it's definitely something that's possible. As you said, there's a few bands out there with the three guitar player format. I think with Glenn's challenge, um, pulling back from touring more and more. Um, I don't know how much Glenn would be around moving forward.
Right.
And then it's a question of, would we need three guitar players, or would it be me and Ken, or would it be me, Ken, and Andy? I don't know, but it would definitely be something that we could do.
Right.
It would be something that the songs could handle. But I think in Priest, it's a question of, it's not a question of music on whether it could happen. I think it's a case of person,
You froze up.
on a personal level, whether it could happen, not on a musical one.
I hope so. Fingers crossed. It could happen. So,
No, I agree with you. I think it would be a great thing.
yeah. I saw Priest in Newark last March, and I don't think I've missed the tour that you guys come around yet. But it was an outstanding show, as always, for the 50 years of heavy metal. And it was
Thank
like
you very much.
it was fantastic. You guys did a really great job on that, and now you're going to be finishing off this year, and then you're going to be going to Europe. You guys are keeping quite busy. How is that? Did Glenn, Rob, Ian give you any advice on the success of the band and how to ground yourself and how to handle this constant on the road touring?
Um, Not really. I think being in an industry as fickle as the music industry,
Mhm.
I think you learn not to take things for granted. And it's not the 80s. It's not an industry that's in heavy rock and heavy metal anyway. It's not
Right.
one that's kind of experiencing, shall we say, it's not on top of the world, if you know what I mean. It's not like it used to be. So
Right.
I think there's a very real sense that you've got to keep your feet on the ground, you know. Um, so, and just looking around you, looking at the way Rob, Glenn, and Ian do things, and the way they run the business, and the way they live their life and stuff, I think you learn a lot from them as well. So I think there's just a very real sense of keeping your feet on the ground, and you know knowing that nothing lasts forever.
Yeah.
um
Got to appreciate
and
every
just
minute.
just keeping your head about you.
Yep. Keep enjoying every minute of it while it's there, right?
Absolutely, yeah.
What do you do to keep yourself grounded from hotel to hotel to tour bus to tour bus to show?
That differs really. I mean, we're all kind of normal guys.
Yeah.
We've all got normal interests, and we've all got families, and you know so we've all got, as I said, no one's really kind of, and we're all of an age where no one's running around doing stupid stuff, or we're all kind of getting on a bit. you know
Mature.
uh you know what I mean. So everyone's kind of normal, boring. uh you know what I mean. So no one really gets out of hand, really. I've just, what have I been doing today? I went to get a coffee today. I've been online finding out a bit about AI uh artwork and stuff like that. Just boring stuff, really.
Regular guy stuff.
I watch fishing videos from YouTube, and then we're in Lexington, Kentucky today. So we've ordered Kentucky Fried Chicken for after show food, because that's interesting to us. That this is
Yeah.
where Corbin, Kentucky, is where Kentucky Fried Chicken was. It's boring stuff, man, but it's interesting to us. We're just common people. You know what I'm saying?
That's fantastic. No, that's great, and it's good to hear. You're keeping healthy, keeping safe. Um, You know, the details about the new Priest album have been a little bit vague with the direction. Everybody's assuming something, you know, some saying it's a departure from Firepower, some say it's more progressive. Can you, I know you can't tell us too much, but what could you say? Will we, as fans, will we like it as much as Firepower and Redeemer Souls?
You know what? The internet seems to know everything these days about what the new album's going to sound like, based on a couple of words that you put out there.
Yes.
I think we've used the word progressive, and everyone thinks it's going to become Nostradamus or Rush, which is two different things. I've definitely used the word progressive purely because it's got a few musical turnarounds that Firepower doesn't have, but that doesn't make it a Rush record. You know,
Yes.
It just makes it instead of like a verse into a bridge into a chorus, there might be a couple more musical passages in there to make it a bit more interesting. Might be the wrong word for someone. I don't know. You got to be careful with the words you use these days.
Yes.
But so it's not Firepower 2, but it's the same band a few years later. So there's obvious connections to the last record, but that it's not Firepower 2 by any means. You know, I think no Priest record has sounded the same.
Agreed.
But it's got a common DNA, and you always try and make the next one sound a bit better, or whatever better may be. Better is subjective. So is it better written? Are the lyrics better? Does it sound better? And better is always subjective. So it's hard to pinpoint really, but it's a bit more of a musical adventure than the last one, I'd say.
I look forward.
But then again, someone might listen to it when it does come out and have a totally different interpretation of what it is. So it's always tough to sum up your own music without sounding up your own butt, you know?
Yeah, no, I get it. Did Glenn play on it? Is he on the album too?
He will be, yeah. I don't think he's recorded his guitar parts yet, but he's definitely involved in the writing of it. So,
Good.
you know, that was what we were. We obviously we're all aware of his challenges with the Parkinson's,
Right.
so we were adamant that if he couldn't play that particular day, that he was involved in the writing, and he'd share his ideas with me, and I'd kind of be his. He would share his ideas through me. You know.
That's great. That's great. I want to be respectful to your time. My last question. Your father-in-law, George Lynch. Crazy to think about you, George Lynch, you know, in the same family. Ever think of putting out an album together, the two of you?
Everyone always asks that, but I mean, we've never thought about it ourselves. I mean, George is such a behemoth of rock guitar, you know. I mean, yeah. I'd never say never, but he's such an unorthodox guitar player. Why not? I mean, George is such like he puts out so much material.
Yes.
I don't see why not. You know, he's such a strong character on the guitar, and as I said, such an output of material. I don't see why that wouldn't be an option in the future. But I've got my own stuff to. You know, George has kind of established his career. I'm still kind of trying to establish mine, but I'd never say never for sure.
Well, I'm hoping that we could talk when your album comes out too. You know, you're working on your other album, so that's hopefully we could chat about that too down the road. So I look forward to that. And I want to thank you so much for your time today. It's always a pleasure to speak with you, Richie. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Robbie. You take care now.
You too. Bye-bye.
Bye now.